Well, let's start with the Chargers-Raiders game. What a performance by Khalil Mack. 6 quarterback sacks, all-time Chargers record, within 1 sack of the all-time NFL record. Now, is that a positive for the Chargers? Well, Mack played well. It's definitely a negative for the Raiders. It shows how really bad a franchise they are. Offensive line, deplorable. They did not have their starting quarterback, Jimmy G, ruled out because of the concussion. Last minute, they bypassed Brian Hoyer, the journeyman quarterback. They went with the rookie from Purdue, Aiden O'Connell. He looked terrified. He was terrible in the first half. Wound up with 3 fumbles and an interception. All that said, with Aiden O'Connell and Josh Jacobs, they came back in the second half and they were driving for the game-winning touchdown in the final minute when O'Connell threw an interception down on the goal line. Chargers shut out in the entire second half. Offense just does not seem to be right now. Of course, they don't have much of a running game. And with the loss of Mike Williams, Justin Herbert has a fracture of a finger on his left hand, got it caught in a helmet towards the end of the game. He just wasn't real strong getting the ball down the field. Chargers won because they made the final play of the game for the second week in a row, an end zone goal line interception. Otherwise, that thing could have wound up in overtime. Chargers are just a mystery of a personality of a team to me, John. They're just not making chunk plays down the field. Doesn't look like they can protect the quarterback. Justin Herbert had to scramble away from sacks 7 times in that Sunday game. Did make a couple of plays to save some drives along the way, but Chargers are so beat up. Now, lucky for them, this is a bye week. It's the right time because hopefully when they come off this bye, we're going to play the Dallas Cowboys. When they come off this bye, they're going to have everybody on defense led by Joey Bosa back healthy, and they'll have, obviously, Austin Eckler, we believe, back coming off this high ankle sprain. You'll have the week for Justin Herbert to help repair that minor fracture of the finger, and then maybe they'll be able to figure out their system so they can go down the field much more. So that was quite a struggle for the Chargers at one point, blowing out the Raiders, nearly let the Raiders back in the game with a minute to play in regulation. All right, let's talk Miami-Buffalo. Yeah, that was a big-time game. And we're going to see these guys again later in the season. Josh Allen throws for 320 and 4 touchdowns, adds a 5th touchdown running. Stephon Diggs goes for 120 yards through the air. They had 6 touchdowns and a field goal in the first 8 possessions. They destroyed Miami's defense. And Dolphins started quick with Tua, but the longer you went, Buffalo figured him out more. Tua finishes with 282. He obviously had an interception, took 4 sacks, which he's not taken all season long. And I'll say this, Buffalo really put a lid on Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle held them to a combined 9 receptions with no chunk plays down the field. Buffalo, big win over Miami. Kansas City and the Jets. Talk about teams that don't look like themselves. Chiefs had a big lead, and then Zach Wilson led the Jets back. Mahomes throws for 302, but he threw 2 more interceptions. They're just not the same team. Wilson was getting booed viciously. He rallied his team from a 17-0 deficit and got him within a touchdown, had the final possession, and fumbled the ball away. But he, outside of that fumble, no interceptions, moved the pocket, moved the ball. He looked like the kid that we saw play when he started Brigham Young University. Kansas City, sloppy game. They've had a bunch of sloppy games. Their wide receivers just don't look dangerous. It's just not the same wide receiver core right now. So Kansas City won, but it was rather unimpressive. Dallas, New England, 38-3 Cowboys. Dallas came out with fire in their eyes after getting beat the week before by Arizona. This is the worst beating a Bill Belichick team has ever taken in New England, 38-3. Benched his quarterback, Mac Jones, after 3 more turnovers. Dallas piled up 377 yards against the Patriots. New England is 1-3. And since Tom Brady changed addresses, Belichick's teams 25-28. But that's not the worst spot in the AFC. That one belongs to Pittsburgh. Steelers look terrible. Steelers might have to make a coaching change with the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. Nothing seems right. Texans pasted Pittsburgh. C.J. Stroud, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Texans. against the Steeler defense. Kenny Pickett did absolutely nothing on offense. 114 yards, interception, 3 more sacks. Pittsburgh's offense it looks pedestrian. It just does not look like it's a modern day NFL offense. So there's going to have to be something that changes there because you're committed to the quarterback, but they don't look as if they have enough firepower people around Kenny Pickett. And Matt Canada just seems not to be calling any of the plays. And I know you don't like to blow things up this early in a season. It may be Mike Tomlin might have to do that. So, John, from my corner of the world, my observations on the big storylines in the NFL, what are yours?
Well, I love seeing what CJ Stroud is doing because there was a lot of doubt and question of whether he was NFL ready. But boy, they plugged him in and he's performing better than Bryce Young, performing better than Anthony Richardson. I think Houston's got to be excited about that kid. The Chiefs-Jets game, I watched that last night, and it was an ugly game to begin with. But it got interesting at the end, and you're at least for me, I'm rooting for Zach Wilson because he was the kid that was counted out, and now he's back in, and he looks sharp. But that ferocious New York Jets defense couldn't stop Mahomes on those final drives, and he was running for like 25 yards on 3rd and long. That was a problem to contain him. But I just got to go back to the Charger-Raider game. SoFi was in a blackout. I mean, there was all these Raider fans there. And once again, Brandon Staley goes for it on 4th down in his own territory and fails and almost hands the game to the Raiders to win. I mean, how much more of these kinds of decisions by Staley can Charger fans put up with?
Concur with you wholeheartedly. And what did you think about the Miami-Buffalo shootout?
You know, I was trying to watch it on TV, but it wasn't on any of my channels. I got stuck with the Rams and the Colts. So I kind of kept an eye on the game through my phone and my computer. And that was a beatdown. I mean, I was really shocked by how dominant the Buffalo offense was. And you figure Tua, I thought he was going to, be scoring 30, 40 points, but it just didn't get there.
Okay, we get to halftime, our Monday